Hey YouTube, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I wanted a simple and chill project to work on. I also grew up in the 90s playing the game Pretty Pretty Princess, and apparently I haven't changed much at all because I still want to play Pretty Pretty Princess and get all dressed up as a princess. So for this video, I will be making one of those princess hats, also known as a Hennin. They've been all over my For You page and they're so cute, and I just need to make one. I think it'll help me feel better. I've kind of already made one before because when I cosplayed Wirt, this is essentially a princess hat. I made this out of very historically accurate craft foam. And I'm just gonna make a cone again the same way I did with this hat, but dress it up more princess-like, and then we'll play dress up. So instead of figuring out the pattern again, I just folded my Wirt hat in half and then traced those two halves on a piece of paper. Here's how it turned out. Ta-da! The measurements for my cone ended up being 15 inches tall, and then the base is 23 inches. So if you wanted to know the measurements for my hat, that is what it is. According to Wikipedia, some Hennins back then were 2 feet 5 inches tall, which is crazy. You could put so many baguettes in there or something, I don't know. Over 2 feet tall, that's nuts. Mine's a baby hat compared to that. But now that I have my pattern, I'm just gonna trace it onto some craft foam. My craft foam sheet was too small to fit my whole pattern, so what I did was make a crease in my pattern and then line that up on the side of the craft foam sheet that had some extra space, and then traced it there. And then I took those two pieces and glued them together with ye olde hot glue gun. Now that I had a 2D cone, I then made it 3D by gluing the two sides together, and I made sure I left some space at the point of the cone that I didn't glue together because I needed to leave that open to put some fabric through later. But now you have a snazzy cone you can wear on your head. The cone is all assembled. All I need to do now is decorate it. This is the dress that I'm using for this look, and I looked through my fabric stash and found this blue. It's pretty close, so I'm gonna use this for the base of my hat, and then I have all these little embellishments that I can use. These were just left over from other projects I've done, so I'll get to use them up and use them to decorate the cone. But it is starting to get later in the day. I think we're gonna make some dinner and come back and do all the decorating tomorrow. It's tomorrow. I, so far, have cut out my fabric cone. I made sure it was a bit wider and longer. That way I have some seam allowance and then some extra fabric to tuck up into my foam cone. And then I then washed it and ironed it. So here it is, all ready to decorate. I have a bunch of this gold ribbon and I want to try and do like a diamond pattern going up the cone. So I'm going to mess around with it. I think it'll be easier to do it while it's flat. We'll see, but I'm going to play with that and see if I can get that to work. I could have measured everything and made it super precise and symmetrical, but my brain didn't think that sounded fun, so I just eyeballed it. This kind of reminded me of like an apple pie lattice, but once I was happy with how it was looking, I pinned it all down in place. Alright, so I think I figured it out. I am gonna sew all this ribbon down, and it'll take some time, but I think it'll look nice. I just don't want to hot glue it because I don't trust myself to be super clean with all this ribbon. I'm gonna sew all this down and then we'll decorate, and I will be using hot glue for a lot of the other decorations because some of these things, like, I'm not sewing that. Here's how it's looking so far. I just have it clipped on here, and then I also marked where the intersections are to put these little stars on. I think it's gonna be so cute. And then these ones will be covered up, so I didn't mark those. But yeah, here's how it's looking so far. These star patches are iron-on. I do not trust iron-ons to stay on, so I sew over them anyways, but the iron-on feature is still nice because I can put them down on my fabric and sew over them without having to pin them down, which is really nice. All the stars are sewn on. The last thing I have to sew are these two sides together, and then I think I'm just gonna hot glue the rest of this, but all the tedious sewing is done. Just like with my foam cone, I am leaving a hole at the top of this one so I can later put my fabric through it, and then now that the two sides are sewn together, I can combine the two and glue them together. I'm adding slits at the base of my hat here because I didn't do this for my wart hat, and when I folded the fabric up it creates a lot of folds and it's very bumpy, and adding the slits prevents that from happening. With the fabric glued in place, it was time for the best part, which was decorating the hat with all my scrap trims and embellishments. I had so much fun doing this, and it was just with hot glue, so it was really fast and it made the hat look so fancy and whimsical. Easily the best part of making this. It's so cute. It's not done yet. I still have to add the fabric that comes out from the top here and then some straps on the side, but I had to try it on. It was looking so cute. I'm not entirely sure how long to make this, so I'm just gonna kind of put it in, and then what looks good, just gonna follow my heart. I first glued the tulle in place and then put the hat back on, and from there measured how long I wanted it. My heart said the middle of my back, and so that's where I cut it, and I think my heart was right because it looks adorable. And for the straps that go on the side, I just cut some of those out of tulle, and then again with my hot glue gun glued them to where they should sit. And from there, my hat was finished and ready for the reveal. I'll give you guys a moment to try and guess what I'm hiding under my Hennin. Furby. If you got that correct, you get a billion points. Congrats. But this, 10 out of 10, would recommend making one if you're thinking about doing it. It was simple enough. If I didn't have a mild cold right now, I think I could have done it all in one day, but because I was a little sick, it took me a little longer. But simple craft, whimsy AF. I feel so cute. And yeah, did I say 10 out of 10? Because 10 out of 10. Yep, that's the video. Make a Hennin. Treat yourself. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. I just took off the wig. I had to show you guys the wig hair. Nice. Cone, 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 cone. The cone, the cone. Cone, 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 cone.
It's about the cones.